Welcome to PantherPlanet podcast, the conversational series where we explore how international traditions, cultures, and experiences impact one's identity as a local and global citizen. This season, Alex and Chris are going to show you how our interconnected world is similar than we think, and despite our differences, the human experience is universal. Welcome back to a new episode of the PantherPlanet podcast. This is your host, Christopher, and today we have a very important guest who, well, I guess he's not a guest anymore, is our newest member, Alex. Alex, introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Alex. My major is global management, and I'm also an Italian major. And I transferred to UWM actually this semester, so I'm like a sophomore. And I guess like a few things I like to do for fun. I really like to, especially during the summer, I think like for some reason I'm so much more active. I love to run and like swim and play tennis, definitely.
Sweet.
And just spending time with family and friends, going on coffee dates, all that. So, and the reason I like wanted to do this podcast, I actually heard about it before. I listened to a few of the episodes in the first season. I thought they were really interesting, like topics like tourism or study abroad. I thought that was super interesting and things that I just thought were really cool and like I wanted to learn more about. So I thought when I saw the post on Instagram that was like, oh, we're hiring, I was like, okay, I'll do it.
And we're happy you did. It was a very lengthy journey to find the newest member of our team.
Really?
And yes, and I'm glad that we finally have you in the team.
Thank you.
And well, to open this new episode and this new season with a golden brooch, we're gonna start talking about the global beauty standards. And I'll let you to it.
Okay, so I feel like the first thing we should really do is define beauty. And when you search it up, just the first thing that comes up is from Oxford Dictionary, and it says, beauty is a combination of qualities such as shape, color, or form that pleases the aesthetic senses, especially the sight. So I feel like from that definition, what I gathered is beauty is very subjective. It's not really something that can be defined by one thing, and it's cliche to say, but it's in the eye of the beholder, I think. Yeah. But what I really wanted to look into is what are some origins of beauty standards, and a lot of origins of beauty standards in Asia really stem from Eurocentrism. And that really means it's just kind of having this mindset that Europe, or whiteness really, is superior to all other cultures and societies and things like that. And so a lot of modern beauty standards in Asia really align with these more Eurocentric ideas. So like big eyes, small nose, straight hair, light skin. So kind of getting more specific as to the region, I looked at Central Asia, which really is looking at the former Soviet Republic states. So states like Kazakhstan and Turkmenistan. And a lot of their original beauty standards were really based on traditional native poetry, which I thought was really interesting and I really hadn't heard before. But it really emphasized light skin, dark eyes, black hair, and darker skin was really considered you were of a lower class. So it really means you're from a rural area, while lighter skin means you're from an urban area.
So it's more of a social class problem more than race.
Yeah, exactly. And it's because when you're from a rural area, you're a farmer, so you have tanner skin. And so that symbolizes your lower class because
you're working outside.
Exactly. So after the Soviet Union fell, a lot of these countries were opened up to the West. And so they gained independence, women gained rights, and their look became to be more fetishized and like seen as exotic. And so beauty standards were kind of treated as this national identity, but there was becoming this conflict between like the traditional narrative beauty that they originally had and this like Western standard that was coming in. And so, especially with the rise of social media, there was a lot of more focus on European beauty standards. And that really contradicted the more ethnic look that they had. And so it really became, young people became to struggle more with their perception of beauty, really. Because it was more things such as like skin whitening, plastic surgery, and double eyelid surgery really became more the ideal and more emphasized in their culture. And especially, I think, because they have become more accessible. And so I think that's also why they've become more emphasized.
Mm-hmm.
But then moving on, I also looked at India. So one quote that I I actually looked at this article from Harvard. Sorry, they're falling off. And so this quote really stood out to me. It was, "The emergence of India into modernity has been symbolized by Indian beauty through the Western lens." And I thought that was really interesting because it really showed how Eurocentrism is still applicable in the modern world, but it's just more subtle. Like how these women are seen in like magazines and all that is through the Western lens because they're seen in these more Western magazines like Vogue or things like that.
Yes.
But originally, the beauty ideal that India had originally was looking more so at their gods and goddesses. So, for instance, Parvati, who was the Hindu goddess of fertility and love, she was more so the beauty ideal originally before colonization. And she was really depicted as slim, with larger hips around her face. But as a result of colonization, when the British came in the 19th century.
As always.
Oh, yeah, they're everywhere. Come on. It really changed their perception of beauty, I think. And it really left behind this legacy of skin lightening and whitening products becoming more of a thing. And whiteness was seen as cultural capital. So really it was synonymous with beauty and like the upper class, luxury, prestige. A little bit similar to the Soviet republics. So like there's this more idea that like having darker skin was you were a lower class, while having lighter skin it was more seen as prestigious.
Okay.
Which I thought was interesting. It seems to be like a trend, really.
Yes, and I also find it. I find the fact that the Eurocentric views coming into other countries and other parts of the world and changing the beauty standards is also a trend happening. Because if we look to countries like Japan, while they were isolated, the beauty standard and like what they deem as beautiful was very different than after they opened up to the Western world and changed everything about them. And it keeps happening with country and country again and again. It's a pattern.
It definitely is.
And in therapy, they say that the first step to fixing your problem is realizing you have a problem, and we have a problem.
Definitely. Like, even just within, like, looking further into, like, India, like, it was even, you could see, like, it was systematic racism. Like, people were divided based off of having more of a European look, so, like, having lighter skin, having, like, European features, versus like more of a South Indian look. And that was really defined by just like the width of their nose, because European women or European men have like tinier noses, you have and smaller features in general, but because they had a more ethnic look, they were deemed lesser than.
And to this day, they still have the caste system, which is one of the strongest one in the world. And it's very sad to see that in our air quotes modern world, there's still places where we are being segregated and separated based on the way we look, something that we have no power over.
Exactly.
So
yeah, I know. It is really just insane to think about. And it's just like, even today, like skin whitening and all of that is still so popular and so damaging. And it's really just like there is more of like a rejection of it due to like just like social media and just people standing up against it. But that just makes these companies rebrand. Like, they're not disappearing because they're too powerful. They're rich, and they make so much money off of it. Where it's like, they're not going away. They're just going to rebrand it and not say that it's like skin whitening. They'll say something else. Well, it'll help you have clear skin or all of that. Like, it's just, they're still going to remain.
Yes.
Which really, it shows kind of how deep that problem is and how long
blind we are to it.
Exactly, and how long it's been just around.
Yes.
But like how you mentioned, I thought it was really interesting how in countries like Japan or Korea or China, because they were so isolationist, they were never colonized or anything like that, so their beauty standards developed separately. But for women, what I found was that they really put a pressure on like looking young or looking cute or innocent. So having like larger eyes made you seem cuter, made you seem more animal-like.
Yes.
And so it's like this idea that you want to like protect that person because they're so adorable, they're so cute.
Yeah.
I
don't know what it is called, but there has been research about why we find a baby so adorable and so cute, and the factions of their faces are made genetically to appeal to our brains, to a part of our brains that makes us want to protect them and take care of them. And if we continue into adulthood looking young and beautiful and useful, it triggers the same response, which it's like a survival mechanism, which I think is something that unconsciously we keep trying to achieve into our modern day. We just call it something different.
Yeah, that I know that is like very interesting because in like Japan, for instance, they have a specific term, and I think a lot of us have heard it, kawaii. Like it's kind of become almost like an aesthetic or a certain look, but it really is just what you said. It's describing something as cute or baby-like. It's that need to protect it, and looking kawaii is kind of the ideal, the beauty standard. And again, what really struck me was like having darker skin. That's something that's associated with working outside because, you know, your skin tans. And so you're lower in the hierarchy, which, it's just this reoccurring trend. And and then there's this pressure to continue to look cute and young. And I think what was really shocking to me was that almost 50% of Koreans get double eyelid surgery, which it's crazy to think it's so normalized there because I think that's something that isn't very normalized here.
True. At this point, Korea is the plastic surgery capital of the world, and they do have the model of the face that they want, and a lot of people. It's become a trend and almost like a phenomenon in Korea for a lot of people to have the same face, just because everyone looks at that standard of beauty and like they want that, and everyone gets surgeries to look like that. And at some point, it gets scarier because it seems like you are in a sea full of clones of each other.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Just like looking at the same face over and over again.
It gets boring. I think there's even been movies made about this. It's a whole thing.
That is so interesting. That's very, wow. That's
Uncanny Valley, yeah.
No, because I mean, I do think like plastic surgery has been more normalized. I think we've seen that. And even here, it's like getting lip filler, Botox, or anything like that. It's much more like normal for a person to do that and not as shamed upon, I think. But thinking of everyone having the same face, having the same look, it's, as you said, it's very just boring. Like, what makes anyone unique?
Exactly.
You know? But also, I also looked at like the Middle East, which I thought was a really interesting case because they were very heavily influenced by colonization. But that area, it's so close to Europe, and there's such a high diversity of what people look like. You can have lighter skin, you can have darker skin, you can have blonde hair, brown hair, blue eyes, green eyes. Like, there's not a certain look.
They come in all shapes and sizes.
Exactly. Especially within that region. However, there's still that idea that being white is a blessing. And there's more so of this unequal treatment of people who are darker skinned because they're considered ugly. And there's almost like this divinity in whiteness, like it's almost like godlike, and which I thought was very interesting because it influences like if you can get a job, what kind of benefits you get, like your day-to-day life and the privileges you have. So yeah, I thought that was pretty crazy.
They even influence your pretty privilege.
Oh yeah.
Like you could be the most gorgeous person ever, but if you don't fit those standards to a T, it's gonna be harder for you in some way, shape, or form. But now that we see all this craziness of beauty standards around the world and how they can be oppressive sometimes or most of the times, and this seems very scary and very extreme. I have something way more extreme than this that I would love to discuss with you.
Okay.
And it's our new section, yay or nay. These are extreme beauty practices across cultures throughout history, and we're gonna discuss them, and we're gonna decide if it's yay for us. Would we participate in it? Would we like the aesthetic? Do we like this? Or nay, like stay away from me.
Okay.
This is weird.
Okay.
So our first practice comes from the far land of China, and it is called lotus feet. It was known as foot binding, was a Chinese custom for breaking and tightly binding the feet of young girls to change their shape of and the size of their feet. Feet altered by foot binding were known as lotus feet, and the shoes made for them were known as lotus shoes. There is photos in the internet with people that had these type of feet and that practice this until very recently. It is scary.
That sounds very frightening.
So before we continue talking about this, is this a nay or a yay?
I'm gonna have to give it a hard nay.
Yeah.
That just sounds extremely painful.
And dangerous.
Yes, and what even is the point?
I think it's coming back to like small and petite feet. But also not reading between the lines, it is stated that part of this practice, it's that it endangers the ability of women to walk very freely. It makes them slower and like it's hard for them to walk, which is just another strategy.
Right, just like limiting their freedom.
Yes.
Physically.
Just saying that it's cute, it's beautiful, but in reality, it's just to make it harder for them to have any freedom to go anywhere without the help of a man. Wow. So we decided this is a nay.
Yes, the hard nay.
Okay. Next, we're going back to Europe. We all know Queen Elizabeth I of England and her infamous white face, ghostly white face. But she wasn't the only one in that time period doing this. Her makeup was known as Venetian ceruse. It was a lead-based cosmetic item that also contained hydroxide and carbonated. Whenever a new layer of ceruse was needed, so women would paint their faces without removing the first layer. It goes without me saying, this is highly poisonous, toxic.
I was about to say.
Yeah. But it was said that it would help with your skin. It would even out the skin tone and get rid of freckles. Of course, you're burning off your skin, but it gave them a beautiful white face, in their opinion. So what do we think?
I'm going to give that a hard nay.
Understandable. We don't want our face to be like
no,
poison.
Definitely not. Like, I've definitely seen some celebrities do like white face, as in like more so like celebrities like Chappell Rowan. Like that's kind of almost their aesthetic, where it's just very like very just like they're trying to emphasize their look, their face, like make it very almost seem unreal. Yes. But obviously they're not using lead on their face. Hopefully not. No, I don't think. I really hope not. But I'm gonna give this a hard nay.
Yeah, I hope nobody's using lead anymore, because we know how it ended for Queen Elizabeth I
Yeah.
using that paint. She was literally killed by her makeup, among other things. So, next we're going to the far regions of Japan with a practice called ogaru, waguro. Waguro. In Japan, the custom of blackening teeth was called waguro, which translates to black teeth. This tradition dates back to prehistoric times in Japan, and it was especially popular between the 10th century and the late 19th century. The practice involves using a mixture of iron, filings, and vinegar to darken the teeth. This was very popular in Japan until it was open to the Western world, and we had Japan had more Western influences, and the Empress of Japan rocked her white teeth for the first time in centuries, and it became more a popular thing. But until then, everyone was using black teeth. It was a symbol of beauty.
That's very interesting. That's totally opposite to now.
Exactly. But I do have to say that there has been some research done, and apparently people had healthy teeth. Even though they were not
Really?
white, they were healthy.
So I guess like the products helped keep their teeth clean.
Yes, apparently.
That is very interesting.
I think this is more of a looks thing than a
Yeah,
safety hazard.
definitely. I mean,
So
help
would you
them
rock-
hygienically, but
Yeah. Would you rock black teeth?
I mean, I've used charcoal toothpaste, but I don't think I could go full on black teeth. I'm gonna say nay.
Me too. I appreciate my pearly whites too much.
Oh, so true.
But if I was in feudal Japan, I probably would rock those black teeth.
Yeah.
I mean, if the Empress is rocking them, why wouldn't I?
Oh yeah, she's the icon, so
Yeah.
you know.
Exactly. She's the Kim Kardashian of her time.
That's
Yeah.
a perfect way to put it.
Yeah. Next, we are going all the way to Greece. In the Mediterranean, there's a practice known as unibrows made out of goat's hair. According to the New York Times, the ancient Greek valued the beauty of a unibrow as it became known to signify intelligence and beauty in women. Women who didn't have unibrows would even connect their brows using kohl or dark powder. According to Mental Floss, some actually fashioned false brows out of goat's hair and tree resin.
Okay, that's a little intense.
I mean, I don't know if I would rock a unibrow, but I
Yeah.
don't see it as that far-fetched because there's people to this day that do
That
it.
still do it, yeah.
I mean, we remember Frida Kahlo from back in the day and her infamous unibrow.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be completely out of this world to do it, but I don't know. What do you think?
I don't think that would be my cup of tea. I think
I'm not sold on it.
no. I feel like definitely the amount of effort they put into it
Definitely.
is very
To go shaving a goat, getting some tree resin,
Uh-huh.
shaping the eyebrow, like putting that on your face
Yeah.
every single day. I don't want to know how that smells.
oh,
but,
that's so and like
Mhm.
how is that? I feel like your skin would get really
Irritated.
yes, definitely
Yeah.
from fake unibrow.
Yeah.
That's I'm gonna have to say nay.
Yeah. Probably for the best.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we are going all the way to France with a practice known as accentuated veins à la Marie Antoinette. During pre-revolution era in France, pale skin was all the rage thanks to trendsetters like Marie Antoinette, which we have known already that Europe loved their white skin.
Yes.
With pale skin, however, often came more noticeable veins, and they were so coveted amongst women, so much so that they would often color their veins with blue pencils to highlight their vascular features, according to BuzzFeed.
Wow, that's so interesting because I think like
Now we do the opposite.
Yeah, exactly. Like
We
if
do
you're
full coverage.
right, exactly. Like if you're paler and you have like veins that stick out, like you try to cover them up, like
Because someone will say you're sick.
exactly. It makes you look like like sickly
Yeah.
or just frail and stuff. So thinking that was like that's something they highlighted.
Again, like with the feet binding
Mm-hmm.
and like looking frail and being like not able to do a lot of like be strong. I guess this is more like so white that you can see through my skin, but also I'm frail, sickly.
That's very interesting.
This
Like,
is a trend
yeah, like from different cultures too that really didn't have much like
in common.
right.
Or, like they didn't even like know each other at that point.
Yeah, but that was still like having women look frail or weak or just like sickly just seemed to be like this common ground almost, and
Yeah.
it's weird.
This is, I mean, there could be a look for this. Like, I wouldn't say it's completely out of the blue for someone to like do something artistic and like draw with a blue pencil. I mean, I don't see the harm in it. I guess I could partake.
No, I don't think it's a bad thing. Like I don't think it's harmful to you. Like
Exactly.
putting white paint on your face with
Yeah.
lead in it obviously is harmful
Or
to you.
binding your feet to the
Right.
point of breaking them.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it would make people more comfortable with how their veins look, or just so I can see that being a good thing. So I'll say yay.
Yeah, because we've been saying a lot of nay, so I guess we'll give it a win to historical.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a yay for us.
Okay.
Then we are going to the Middle Ages. And we're going, well, all across Europe, but especially in England during the Middle Ages, removing eyelashes.
Okay.
Also, I guess Italy is also included in this.
Uh-huh.
The forehead was considered the sexiest part of a woman's face. According to Marie Claire, women often removed most of or all of their eyelashes and eyebrows as well to accentuate this part of their faces. I have seen paintings from the Middle Ages in England and in Italy of women who have, I think 5 head is like short to how big their foreheads are. And I've also heard that they used to pluck their hairline back so that their forehead would be like huge.
So they would have a receding hairline as well.
I think that if you put one of those women against a modern day man who has a receding hairline, they would feel much better about their situation.
I could see that. I mean, was this like more so like high class women doing?
Yes.
Okay, so it's wow. So that was just kind of the look. I feel like if
Foreheads were sexy. What can I say?
oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I wish I was there because honestly, big
I
forehead
get it.
gang.
And I'm scared that my hair is gonna start receding soon.
Uh-huh.
So it would have
Honestly,
been
take
great.
inspo from the Middle
Exactly. If
Ages.
anyone says your hairline is receding, I'll say no. I'm just inspired by medieval England and Italy. This Europe.
Exactly.
I'm high class, an aristocrat. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna work. But eyelashes, I need my lashes.
Oh, so true. I think that would be so painful too.
Yeah. Also, we covet long and curly eyelashes
Yeah.
to this day, and like for me to just get rid of them,
And right, and they're also useful. They help keep things out of your eye. Like
Exactly.
they have a purpose.
exactly, and just getting rid of them, that would make me frail.
Yes, definitely. I agree.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say nay for this.
I'm gonna second that.
Yeah. Okay. We're moving on to the next one.
Okay.
We are going all the way back here to the Americas, but we
Okay.
are going to Central and South America with a practice known as head flattening. Practice of intentionally changing the shape of a human skull. Once common in some cultures, head flattening was practiced by a number of North, Central, and South American Indian tribes, particularly before European colonization. It was most commonly accomplished by securing an infant in a cradle board that had a movable cover over the forehead. The pressure of the cover gently and consistently applied over time cause the child's forehead to elongate, creating a nearly smooth silhouette from the tip of their nose to the crown of their head. What is it with foreheads? Come on.
They must have really liked foreheads as well. I don't
Yeah, I
know.
remember back in 2016 when photos of skeletons from the time, from the Mayans and stuff, were coming out, and people were saying, "Oh my God, those were aliens! Do you see their heads? They're like triangles, and they're flat." And it was later discovered that it's not that. It was a flattening technique. Also, this same thing could be achieved by wrapping bandages tightly to the forehead of the infant. Over time, it would flatten their skull. Mind you, this is done to babies.
Yes, and I just wonder how that affects the development of your skull and your brain. Like, how does that can change you?
I'm sure something must happen in their brain.
Yeah.
But the research that has been done, they said that apparently it didn't affect very much the functioning of intellectual capacities in the brain.
Okay.
I would love to know how they tested that out, because those people died many centuries
Yeah,
ago.
like how can you learn that?
I guess only from records of people talking about
Maybe
people.
writing.
Exactly, could be that. I don't know if I would love to have like cone head.
Me neither.
Yeah. Although we see in like medieval paintings in England, so across the oceans, those hats that were like like a cone that were so high. We remember Shrek 2, right? And
Yeah.
those, so it wouldn't be out of the blue for someone to covet that shape, I guess.
Maybe it's kind of interesting how the medieval and in the Americas, like how they both almost had that like alien look where it's like very like inhuman. They were trying to like create this image that that they were kind of separate from that like human look.
Yeah, more ethereal, more like out of this world.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure about this. I think it's gonna be an A for me. I'd rather have a rounder head.
I agree. I mean, maybe if it didn't hurt them, that's great. I'm happy, but I would still give it an A.
I mean, I don't think they could have said if it hurt or not, because
True.
they were babies.
Babies.
But I think this is an A for me. But compared to what's coming next, the next thing, I think this is less painful than what's coming next.
I'm a little nervous now.
Painful in more of a psychological way
Okay.
than physical way, but still, I wanted to puke. Sorry, Romans. We're going back to Italy.
Okay.
They had some interesting things. It's Roman gladiator sweat facials.
Huh?
Yeah. The facials were believed to improve complexion and maintain usefulness. Again, the sweat of successful gladiators, it needed to be a successful gladiator, not any gladiator, was considered a potent aphrodisiac.
So just sweat?
So yeah, imagine like you were at the basketball court with LeBron James and all his sweat was being kept in a jar, and then you put that all over your face because you thought that it was gonna be like, I don't know, the new skincare routine to make you so useful, and at the same time like turn you on because it's an aphrodisiac.
That sounds a little nasty.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. And as we know, sweat is not good for your face. It makes you break out.
Yeah.
So it has the opposite effect. I can understand where it comes from, like taking something that is from someone successful. Maybe it's supposed to be almost like
a placebo effect.
Yeah, like almost like seen as a blessing, or I mean the same way I think a lot of people carry around crystals. Like there's almost this like a placebo effect, like it will give you good luck or all
love
of that.
or that.
Yes.
Here's my theory. I think that we had a very powerful, like influential fangirl who was into very like weird stuff, and she wanted to have the sweat of her favorite gladiator all over her face. And her friends were like, ew, why would you do that? And then she was like, no, it's great for your skin. It's great. It's an
She just made it all up.
Yeah, it was just extreme fangirling too close to the sun, and then it was too late to take it back, and it became all the trend in Rome.
I could see that.
I'm hoping that's the case and that people didn't really think that.
Yeah. Sometimes a lot of these, they make me wonder where they originated from. Like, who's the first person that did this? And how did this become the norm?
How did they discover that they could do this?
Yes.
Like, there's, even to modern day, there's certain things that we do today that I'm like, what was the person who invented this doing to discover this? Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of questions unanswered. But I'll leave that to your imagination. Because we're going back to the Mayas in Central America. Mm-hmm. And this one is more fun. And I think it's a practice that we left for a very long time, but we're doing again now in modern times. Okay. But I was very surprised to know that the Mayas did it in prehistoric times as well. And it's Mayas gluing gemstones to their teeth.
Oh.
Yeah, which is something, it's very popular now. But apparently the ancient Mayas did it as well. There's new research showing that Mayas glue gemstones to their teeth. I don't know if I would choose the glue that they were using if they were using cement to glue gemstones to their teeth. I don't know if I would prefer that type of glue. But the gemstone part, it can look pretty. I've seen the skulls of some Mayas with gemstones still attached to them. And they're gorgeous. They had emeralds in them and stuff like that. Very pretty.
Yeah, I could definitely see that being a thing just because it very much shows your social class.
Yes.
I mean, if you're able to literally use gemstones in your teeth and however much that's worth. But that is really interesting how that is definitely something that is much more popular today too. I mean,
I've considered it. Like,
yeah.
Haven't done it yet, but I've considered having at least one tooth gem. I'm like, I might do it because of the Mayas now.
Yeah, take inspo from them. Yeah. I mean, are those permanent? Like, or can they come out?
The modern ones?
Yes.
Yeah, they can come out. But it would be best if you went to the dentist to take them out more than you do it yourself. Because I've seen some TikToks of people trying to take them out themselves. It doesn't end up well.
Yeah, I think you'd lose a tooth.
Yeah, or more. So go to a dentist.
Definitely.
They'll take care of it. But they're so pretty.
They are really pretty.
Yeah. And like I'll go to the dentist and like I'll show him the Mayan skull with the gems and like that's what I want. I think they'll love it.
I think that's a great idea, actually. Yeah, you should go for it.
And apparently, it was therapeutic, and it helped with mouth health.
Oh, really?
Apparently.
That's interesting.
So people, do your own research. Go into it. It is a rabbit hole. I spent hours looking into this. I recommend go looking into Mayan tooth gems. But hand in hand with beauty. Well, that concludes the section of nay or yay. Oh, I didn't ask. Would you participate in the Mayan practice of tooth gems?
I think I would participate in the modern version. But so I would give it a yay. I think it's cute. It's interesting how it came back around
after centuries, millennia.
Yes, and now it's like a trend.
Yeah.
So I would say yay. I think it can be cute.
I guess fashion, it is cyclical.
Very true.
As it took a long time for this cycle to come back around, but it is cyclical. Okay, this concludes our section of nay or yay, and we're going into hygiene because I think that hygiene is a part of beauty. It's the precursor to beauty. And we're going to talk about a couple of cultures around the world that have partaken into different practices of hygiene. And we'll see that some of our practices to this day stem from those practices in ancient times. And we're going all the way to the far off land of ancient Egypt. The Egyptians bathed daily, shaved their heads to prevent lice or other hair problems. They were lazy. They didn't want to take care of their head. That's why
No.
they used wigs. And regularly used cosmetics, perfumes, and breath mints. They had good breath.
Wow.
So important was one's personal appearance and hygiene that there are some spells in the Book of the Dead, the Egyptian Book of the Dead, that stipulate that one cannot speak those spells in the afterlife if you are not clean or presentable.
That is very interesting.
Yeah, so hygiene is of the utmost importance in ancient Egypt. And we see that we take care of our breath to this day. We use perfume, cosmetics. We take care. I don't think we all shave our heads.
I mean, some people do it,
Exactly. And you can just wear a wig.
but right. I mean, there's more productive ways to get rid of lice, I think.
Yeah, that's true. But like they were like productivity. I don't have time to take care of hair or the lice. I'm just gonna shave my head and rock a shaved head.
You know what?
Also, they don't have to take care of like horrible hair in the morning.
That's true.
Just get up, just massage your skull a little bit, and put the wig on.
There you go.
Keep it moving. Someone should have introduced them to like lace fronts back in the day. They didn't, but I mean, you can't have everything.
No. They still look good, so
yeah.
I mean.
It's like, and they bathe daily. It was a retreat, something spiritual more than just beauty.
That's very interesting. Just like even going back to the hair thing, I think like just like washing your hair and everything. It's like you would think bathing daily, like there would be like a hair routine, but that is very interesting that they just were, I don't want that hair. We're just gonna.
I mean, they really took very good care of their wigs.
Yes.
Like the hair was of the utmost quality. They were perfumed all over the hair with essential oils and stuff like that, incense and trank and all that. And they put gemstones in the hair. Like they took very good care of their wigs.
That's very interesting. Yeah, just because like when you look at in Europe when they used to wear those very tall white wigs in like the 17th and 18th century, those had bugs and lice and they were very, very dirty. And they were just perfumed to cover up the stench of it.
Yes, I mean, we have seen, I don't know if you've seen Queen Charlotte from Bridgerton.
Oh, yes.
One of her most infamous wigs is one that is so big that the inside of the wig is hollow and it has like a carousel, crystal carousel
I have
moving.
seen that one.
I'm like, what if a bunch of like little animals just went inside of that thing?
Oh yeah, they would have a fun time.
Yeah, she could carry her puppies inside of that wig.
Right, it was practically an amusement park in there.
True. So I'm like, yeah, I love the aesthetics, the campness of the big wigs, the extravagance of it all. But I wouldn't be too sure about like wearing it on the daily and like cleaning it as often.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather stick with my hair care routine, to be honest.
Yeah. At the same time, we know that a bunch of people used to use very decorated gloves. And you would think, why is everyone wearing gloves? It's not that cold. Some of these paintings that we see of people wearing gloves in the Renaissance period are during summertime. Like, why would you wear gloves? But the reality is that most of those gloves were scented.
Oh.
Because the stench of the surroundings was so hideous that people had to cover their faces with their gloves and smell this perfume. The same thing went for handkerchiefs or for their hats. They had perfume everywhere just to cover the stench of, well, all that.
Wow, that I can't imagine living like that. I mean, that's when chamber pots were a thing. They just dump it out your window.
Sure.
And wow.
I mean, to this day, in Chicago, there is, I believe the name is Perfume Passage. It's at this museum that has the biggest collections of perfumes around the entire world. They have Napoleon Bonaparte's actual perfume bottle that he used. And they have an entire extensive collection of perfumes from around the world. They have one of the most ancient perfumes that's more than 2,000 years old from ancient Egypt in its original vial. They have an entire exhibition about a perfume from different countries and continents. It's magnificent. Recommend. But one of their sections is about Victorian England, actually. And there's these statues of women that have like a little flower, and they're just like leaning forward with the flower, and then they had a hand leaning forward, and you would put a coin in the hand of the statue. It's like a vending machine, basically. It is a vending machine, and then the flower would spray perfume at you, and you would just put your glove or your handkerchief next to the flower, put the coin, the flower would spray perfume, and then you could go smelling that perfume the rest of the day. And the museum has a couple of those statues that still exist to this day, and they're from Victorian England. And you would think, how did they have like vending machines for perfume back in the day, and we don't have them now? I'm like, I want one of those.
For real, like we should have that on campus.
Yeah, like there are some people who need it.
So true. Like, especially if I'm like running late because of the bus and I'm just sweating, I honestly would love that.
Yeah, or the people who are leaving the gym.
Yes, at the K.
Yeah, they should put a coin, get some perfume going. So that,
freshen up a bit, you know.
Please, we all are begging. Then we're moving back to ancient China. Where they have plenty of practices and different types of practices to take care of themselves. In the Han Dynasty, an outdated version of shower gel was used, also known as bath bean, was a delicate type of soap that came from ground beans and peas mixed with spices. These recipes would be used with herbs such as cloves, eaglewood, various flowers, and even powdered jade as shower gel.
Wow.
And then they also took care of their teeth. As their methods evolved, they replaced salt with a concoction called tooth powder. Ultimately, people combined this powder with pork teeth, saponin, don't know what that is, ginger, simisifuga, don't know what that is either, coke, remanion glutinosol, lotus leaf, green salt, and other things. They used this combination to maintain their teeth and even found ways to use it to remove moisture and heat from the body.
Well, I mean, if it kept their teeth clean.
I don't want pork's tooth inside of my mouth.
Yeah. I don't know. So it was kind of just like this archaic version of toothpaste in a way, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
Toothpaste, as we know today, didn't happen until Victorian England.
Yeah.
Or really, the one we used to do was in 1950, so it's a modern thing. Before that, it was more like powders and stuff that you put in your mouth to clean and stuff like that. Or in Mesoamerica, sugar cane, and different type of canes were used to, like, you would chew on them, and it would like have bristles come out of that cane, and you would clean your teeth with that.
That is very interesting. No, that's like, I know, just that makes me think about, like, my mom is she was born in the USSR, so like even then dental care was just not very good. And so like she was born with literally like black teeth because of it, and like still to this day she's had to like do so many like surgeries to help fix her teeth. So it's very interesting how, I don't know, that toothpaste and all those like products have evolved, and dental care in general has evolved, but also that there's these like ancient practices that helped keep your mouth clean and were actually effective.
Yeah. Would you use that tooth powder?
No, but
what about the gel, the shower gel?
I guess. Like, I mean, it's all natural, I guess, but
jade powder and like flowers, eaglewood, clove. I would use it. It smells nice.
I mean, honestly, if it's a good combo, I wouldn't be against it.
It didn't end there, because they had to wash their clothes at some point.
Yeah.
And they use they use plant ash from burning straw to bathe and also wash clothes and utilize rice water as a detergent for cleaning.
Okay. So, I mean, if it worked,
They were clean.
they were clean.
Mind you, these are the higher up, the high
Yes.
classes, people who have time and resources to burn all these
Yes,
things.
they have servants, they have people
Yeah.
that do it for them.
That will bring the pots of hot water all the way to the bath, which were made out of
Right.
brass and other like beautiful baths.
Definitely.
This is not everyone.
Yes, it definitely puts that in perspective because it's really the only people that are getting this treatment and having these products are people that are wealthy
Exactly.
or higher
Everyone
class.
else to a river.
Yes, to the dirty river.
Dirty river.
Exactly.
I guess it would be cleaner than today. We didn't have as
Yeah.
much pollution, but still, it's a dirty ass river.
Oh,
I'm
very
so
true.
sorry.
I mean,
But talking about Asia, let's go to Korea.
yeah. So me and Chris both did the animal AI test. So pretty much it's this Korean test that tells you which animal you resemble. So it can either be a cat, a fox, a deer, or a bunny.
And they use they are based on the shape of and ratio of your eyes, nose, and mouth, and facial lines. Which is very interesting.
It is because I think it really goes back to when we were talking about just like in Japan, the idea of kawaii or this idea of cuteness and
In Korea,
looking
egyo,
exactly like having this animal-like
and
features
cuteness to it.
because it makes people want to protect you.
Yeah, and take care of it.
So we both took this test, and I thought it was very strange because it's like it's an AI test, so you put your photo in it,
Yes.
and they like analyze it, and it felt very violating in a way,
like stripping you completely naked.
Exactly.
Yes.
But my result was that I had a deer face, and pretty much what this means is I look very innocent, gentle, and almost shy-like, and that I have big eyes and a slim face. So, I mean, I'll
Perfect
take it.
for Korean beauty standards.
Yep, there we go. I mean, I take it. It's not a bad thing, but it's definitely it's weird to be
Interesting.
compared to be an animal.
Also, the fact that the way in which your face looks is supposed to tell you how your personality is.
Yes.
Very interesting.
It is interesting, but even as you say that, it reminds me like astrology. Like a lot of personality traits are based off of astrology and things like that. So that's not something that's unique, I think. But it is weird that it's looking just solely at appearance and telling you like this is your personality.
I guess I could understand perhaps based on like our character and like the things that we constantly do, our facial expressions tend to form a pattern and that tends to form the shape of our face. So perhaps looking into maybe you have sharper features or like meaner looking eyes is just because you tend to like do those facial expressions and then your face transforms around that, and maybe there could be a connection, but I'm reaching very far.
Because it's like it's based off of one photo of you.
Yes.
And it could be a terrible photo of you. Like
First off, and second, your face and body changes across your life.
Exactly.
You fluctuate. And I know that for a fact because the first time I took the test, it was like a couple years ago, and I had a bunny face.
Okay.
And when I was preparing for this episode and I retook the test, I got the cat face. And apparently, due to your cat-like eyes and sharp features, your first impressions look cold, but you are always popular, apparently, due to the chic charm of the cat. Though you have a strong ego, guilty as charged, you still like getting attention from the ones you love, and you know how to love them back. You give big thrill with your sharp but somewhat sweet charm. Yeah,
Wow.
but apparently They're in the test. They have percentages of like
Mm-hmm.
the influence that you have from different faces,
Oh,
and
yes.
the winning for me was like cat face with 82%, but like right after that you had fox face, 14%, bunny face 1%. I guess
Mm-hmm.
there's only 1% left of what I was a couple years ago.
That's
Apparently,
yeah, because I think for my test I had 93% deer face, so it was very high.
yeah, and these are the major faces that are used for this
Mm-hmm.
test. But if you go into it, then you have faces that come from two major types of faces being
Mm-hmm.
combined and making another one, just like astrology. Uh, you got the regular puppy face, the cat face, the rabbit face, but then you have turtle, squirrel,
Mm-hmm.
uh, deer, fox, tiger, and another squirrel. And it keeps going. They keep mixing things with characteristics from here and there, and they keep creating more and more and more faces. It is a world, an entire world.
That is very crazy to think about. I mean, I don't know. I can understand where it comes from because, like, as we talked about, like, there's this emphasis on cuteness and animal likeness. So I can understand where it originates from, like, this trend or people taking these tests. But it is just, it's so, I don't know. It's very strange to be compared to something that's not human.
Hmm.
It's, it's very weird, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it.
I don't know if is this like a I wonder if it's like a normal test like people would take like in in South Korea. Like if this is something that like
Oh
is
yes.
like one of those BuzzFeed tests you would take when you're a
Oh yeah,
teenager.
everyone.
Uh-huh.
Like now that K-pop has become something so
Yeah.
popular global around,
Mhm.
every K-pop fan always knows the animal face that their idol has.
Mhm.
Like even what it's so deep into the whole K-pop culture
Yeah.
around the globe that whenever you're watching a show that has
Mhm.
a bunch of K-pop stars, in the subtitles,
Mhm.
instead of saying their name, most of the time you will have the emoji with the face, the animal face that corresponds to them, and their fans already know who they're talking about.
Wow.
Is
You have
that
to be
deep?
very deep into it
Yeah.
to be able to
Believe me, I have
know that.
friends and they're deep into it.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, I'm concerned for you sometimes. I understand the thrill of it all. It's
Mhm.
really fun, but I'm like, I'm concerned sometimes.
Mhm.
Like these are some parasocial relationships that concern me, but it's so fun.
it
I do have to admit.
it is like yeah, it was fun taking the test. Like it was cute and it's like it reminded me a lot, yeah, of like tests you would take when you're like a kid or like a teenager, like on
Hmm.
BuzzFeed or something.
That's
Like
really fun.
yes, of course, like telling you what celebrity you look like
Yeah.
or like all of that. And it very much reminded me of that. But yeah, it's interesting to know that that's like a norm there. Like, you know, that's something like everyone kind of knows.
Yeah, but I do also have to say that don't take those tests too seriously because
Mhm.
I remember taking some of those tests from BuzzFeed back in the day,
Mhm.
and they said I looked like LeBron James. PSA, I am very light skinned.
Oh.
Yeah, red hair, and like, yeah, I don't think I look like LeBron James. So don't you worry, those tests are not 100% all the time.
Mhm. Oh my god, that is so funny. It's like those tests that like it'll show you like your two celebrity parents or something and it's like they don't look nothing like you.
Not even the same race.
No, it's like come on.
But yeah, but that's beauty for you.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's beautiful in a weird way.
Mhm.
It's interesting.
It changes over time.
It's sometimes painful. It's cyclical.
Mhm.
It has to do with hygiene, beauty, something seen as something divine out of this world.
Mhm.
Something almost animalistic.
Mhm.
Beauty. I guess the very cliche saying that beauty is power. I guess has some sort of
It definitely
backbone here.
it does have a truth to it. I mean, I think we see that in our daily lives like with pretty privilege
Mhm.
and this idea that having more beauty can give you more opportunity.
Yes.
And it might be subtle, but or not explicit, but it still gives you power over like if you're in a job interview or anything like that where being beautiful has its advantages.
Yes, truthfully. Well, I guess that with that, we are going to close our 4th episode of the 3rd season of the PantherPlanet podcast. The first episode that we have our newest co-host, Alex, with us.
Yeah.
How did you feel?
I feel like it went pretty well. I feel like I was a little bit nervous in the beginning, but it was like nervous and excited at the same time, you know?
You should have seen my first episode. It was a mess.
No, I feel like, it's getting used to it, I think. Just like as we went along, I think I got more comfortable with just talking and hearing myself at the same time. So
Well, I hope that you get better at it with the next episode, and
Yes.
we'll see you guys on the next one.